Jason Lay, farm in western McLean County with my wife Misty. Danvers, Carlock, Uden, sort of north Normal to be a little bit more specific. Raise corn, soybeans, sweet corn. Grew up on a hog farm. Had cattle for a little while when I came back, but now we primarily just focus on crops. Harvest is going very well. So we started, I believe, 3 weeks ago on Monday. Got our first rain delay this week. Only a couple days. Of course, very, very dry, so an inch of rain did not keep us out but about 2 days. Overall, yields have been surprisingly very good for corn, beans, close to average, and we are 70% done, I'd say, with both crops. So I started probably 13 or 14 years ago with strip till, which strip till in layman's terms, it's a small strip, roughly 6 to 8 inches wide. You typically put some form of a nutrient right below with a shank or some sort of coulter, and that's where you're going to turn around the following year if you do it in the fall and plant typically corn right on top of it. We've evolved into cover crops. We have some seeded already. Those would be winter kill, and then we seed a lot of cereal rye into our corn stalks that will then turn into soybeans the following year. A lot of other practices as well. I mean, you've probably seen the creek bank here. We maintain good setbacks and waterways. That also helps control erosion. We do a number of other conservation practices. We have some butterfly plots for wildlife. We've built some terraces, built several waterways on other farms. I'd go way back to when I was a kid, and actually it's where I live today. It's where my grandfather and his family came in the early 1950s, but just spending time with him. And a lot of times, we'd be baling hay, or he'd teach me how to rake hay. We'd come in from sweating all day, and we'd have a ice cold bottle of 7-Up with Oreo cookies and watch Judge Walker. So that was always a very fond memory of mine when I was a kid. But there's been a lot of others as well. Of course, now that I'm actively in the farm, raising our daughter on the farm, and she has her own sweet corn business, and each year just watching her grow into that more and more every year. She's been doing that for 16 years. We had a gentleman, when she would have been 18 last summer, he stood there patiently and waited for about 5 minutes until all the customers sort of got all of what they needed. And he said, "Do you remember me?" And she said, "Well, of course I do." And he said, "Well, I'm going to tell you a story about, I believe it was 15 years ago when I had first met you, and your family was in eating lunch, and you wanted to make a sale to me, but you couldn't count money yet, so you had to run back and forth to the house to figure out